Hello students, welcome to the fourth lecture on Introduction to Mathematica. In this lecture, I will talk about arrays and matrices in Mathematica and how to manipulate arrays, how to generate arrays, and how to display arrays and matrices and how to do all those things. I will be discussing in this lecture. So, in one of the previous lecture, I have talked about lists. Okay, a list is nothing but a one-dimensional array. Okay, so arrays could be of n-dimensional, one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and generally we say that two-dimensional array is nothing but a matrix. Okay, application of matrices and arrays is very vast. It is generally used when we are doing image processing and also when you are doing simulation. So all those things, arrays and matrices are very important for all those things. The first thing is let us define a one-dimensional array. So this is basically how we define a list. Okay, so this is a one-dimensional vector. Okay, kind of thing. Now if I want to multiply something with it, so it will be basically 3. So this is multiplication of a scalar with a vector. Okay, now if I want to multiply a vector with another vector, so let me say that I am having another vector which is 4 5 6. So if I want to take the product between this both vectors, then there are two types of products, as we know. One is dot and one is cross. So if I want to take a dot product between both of this, so I will be writing v dot w. Okay, and let me evaluate this. So it is 32. So basically it is nothing but 1 into 4 plus 2 into 5 plus 3 into 6, and the answer is 32. But if I want to take cross product between both of this, then I will be writing cross. Okay, and v comma w. So it is v cross w, and the answer is this -3 6 and 3. As we know that multiplication between two vector is a vector itself. Okay, fine. Now to generate an array, it is not always necessary that the way you have done it, like here, that you are writing all the elements in an array by yourself. Okay, so this is very tedious process and it is not a very good way of writing, since there could be millions of elements in this, thousands, hundreds, okay, n number of elements in uh, list, and it is not always comfortable for you to write this. So basically there is a function called range. Okay, what range does, range basically creates an ordered list for you. Okay, so suppose that I want to find, okay, I want to basically make a list of numbers from 0 to 30, okay, in steps of 3. Okay, so this is my minimum number from where I want to start my array. This is my last number, and this is the number of steps. So it will start with 0, then 3, then 6, and like this up till 30. So you can see that 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. So this is how you generate a list. Okay, so if I am not writing the increment, okay, then it will be taken as 1. So if I am only writing this much, 0 comma 30, so basically it will start from 0 1 2 3 like this. Okay, so you can see that if you are not defining anything in the increment, it will be automatically taken as 1. So it is now 0 to 30. Okay, now I have specified my starting variable. If I am not starting my defining my starting variable, then it will be taken as 1 again. Okay, so this is why it is important. Okay, The starting could be from -10. Okay, so it will start from -10. But you are not, if you are not defining anything, then it will be taken as automatically 1. Okay, so this is a thing to remember. Okay, now, but you remember that it will only create an ordered list. This range function will always create only a ordered list, okay, of numbers. But sometimes we have an expression, and based on the answer of that expression we want to create a list. Okay, I will explain you what is the meaning of this. So there is a function called table. Okay, so in table what we do that we write it like this. So there is an expression, okay, then there is a variable, then the starting number, then the ending number, and then the increment. Okay, so basically what will happen here, that first this expression will be evaluated. Okay, then based on this index the value will be created. So I will take an example, that suppose that I am having an expression 2 to the power k, okay, where k is the dummy variable and it is going from, let me tell, 1 to 10, okay, in steps of 2. So you can see that when k is 1, okay, it is 2. Then what will happen? K is equal to 3 will be happening, because 1 plus 2. So 2 cube. Okay. Then 2 raised to 5. Then 2 raised to say 7, and then 2 raised to 9. So this is how we can use table. So what is the major difference between the range and this? A table can evaluate an expression, and based on the answer of that expression it can create a list. So this is an advantage of table. Remember that we will use a table very oftenly. Okay, it is very important in build function. Okay, let me take one more example on table. I square. Okay, and I is varying from 1 to 10. Okay, so see here I am not defining what is my increment, so it will be automatically taken as 1. Okay, okay, so this is how this works. So these are all the squares between 1 to 10. Okay, now see, don't confuse this small I with iota. Okay, iota is capital I, not the small I. Okay, so don't be confused with this I with the capital I. Capital I basically is a inbuilt constant, which is the iota. Okay, not this one. Okay, one more thing I want to tell about this tables, that it is not necessary that it is always a integer. It could be, so suppose let me take an example in this range. Okay, and let me take 1.5. Okay, so and 6.3 and 0.75. Okay, so see here, yeah, I am taking real numbers, and let me create. So you can see that, okay, it is not always necessary that you have to take only integers. It can take, you can either take this real numbers, integers, anything. Okay, so it is not compulsory that this value should be only integers. This could be anything. Okay, now there is very important thing which is known as nested list. Okay, you can say nested list is nothing but list of lists. Okay, list of lists. Okay, so it is basically a list in which lists are basically elements. So let me take an example. Table, okay, I plus j. So here you can see that there are two variables. Okay, so let me take j varying from 1 to 4. Okay, and I is varying from 1 to 3. Okay, so what does it mean? This is known as the inner iterator. Okay, and this is known as the outer iterator. Okay, so what will happen? First the value of j will be taken as 1, and then for the value of j is equal to 1, I will vary from 1 to 3. 1, then 2, then 3. Then what will happen? The value of j will go to 2, and then the value of I will go from 1, then 2, then 3. Okay, so this is how this nested list works. Okay, so let me evaluate this. Okay, so basically this is how. So you can see that it is a list, but in this list, okay, this is another list, this is another list, and this is another list. Always keep this in mind that this order of the iterator is very important. Okay, if I replace I here and j here, then what will happen? So if I interchange the value of, okay, I and j, then see what will happen. Okay, so okay, so it is I varying from 1 to 3, and j varying from 1 to 4. Okay, now see what is the answer coming. So you can see that both of these answers are different. Okay, so always keep this thing in mind, that this order of iterator, whether it is inner iterator or whether it is outer iterator. So what will happen? First the value of I will be taken, and then for a fixed value of I, the value of j will change. Okay, so see, you can see here that since I have changed the order, I have written I first and then j followed by that. So both of these answers are different. So always keep this thing in mind, that this order of iterator is very important. Okay, whether you are writing j as an inner one or I as an inner one. And always see that the table, see, it is also possible that your outer iterator depends on the inner iterator. So suppose that if I am having I plus j, okay, and I is varying from 1 to 4, okay, and your j is varying from 1 to the value of I. So basically what will happen? The value of I will be fixed to 1, and it will go from 1 to, so it will be 1. Then the value of I will be 2, and the value of j will go from 1 to 2. Then it will go from 1, I will be 3, and it will go from 1, 2, and 3. So this is how this can happen. And see, so you can see that the first list is only having one element, the second is only having two elements, then 3, and then 4. So see, that it is always also possible that your outer iterator depends on the inner iterator, but the vice versa is never possible, it is impossible. So suppose that if I am having, okay, that I is varying from 1 to j, and j is varying from 1 to 4. Okay, so you can see that there is an error. Why this is an error? Because you know that whenever we are doing this kind of work, the inner indices is always fixed, and then the outer is done. Okay, so this is never possible mathematically to do to do this way. Okay, so keep this in mind. So Now I will talk about matrices in Mathematica. Okay, so now I will talk about matrices in Mathematica. So if I want to define a matrix in Mathematica, the way is, so let me take the name of my matrix as Kp, and first I will make a curly bracket. Inside this curly bracket I will make again a curly bracket. Okay, and in this curly bracket I will write the elements of my first row. Okay, so suppose that in the first row 1 2 3 are my elements, then a comma, again a curly bracket. In this curly bracket I will write the elements of my second row, and so this is my second row, again a comma, and now I will write the elements of the third row. Okay, so this is how your matrix can be defined. So you can see that this is your matrix. Okay, so a matrix is defined, but this is not the way you are used to see a matrix. So if you want to display your matrix in a matrix form, then you have to write Kp, okay, which is my matrix, okay, double forward slash matrix form. So you can see that your matrix is displayed like this. Okay, now if I want to multiply a scalar with this matrix, suppose that I want to multiply 3 with all the elements of Kp, then what I will do, 3 space Kp, and you can see that these are the things. Now suppose you want to display this also in matrix form, then you will double forward slash matrix form, and you can see that these are the elements, okay, of 3 Kp. So each element is multiplied by 3. Now if you want to find, suppose that you want to find the determinant of this Kp matrix, then what I will do, determinant, det is the inbuilt function for determinant, and then I will write Kp. Okay, so you can see the determinant is 0. Why the determinant is 0? Because any matrix which has a column or a row which contains the same element, okay, then the determinant is always 0. Okay, so you can see that the determinant is coming 0. Okay, now if I want to find the inverse, okay, of Kp, so inverse is a inbuilt function to find the inverse of a matrix. Okay, so if I find inverse of a matrix Kp, okay, so there is an error. Okay, why there is an error? Because the determinant of a matrix is 0. Okay, so if the determinant of the matrix is 0, then the inverse cannot be found. Okay, so this is why it is like this. So these are the ways in which you can find the determinant and the inverse of a matrix. If you want to do transpose of a matrix, then it can be done. Yes. Transpose is the inbuilt function. Okay, and if I do transpose of Kp, okay, and I want to display this in matrix form, so you can see that the transpose has taken place. So 1 2 3, which was in this row, now it has shifted to the first column. Okay, so this is how you can do the transpose of a matrix. Okay, now if you want to find identity matrix, okay, how to define identity matrix? So there is a shortcut way. So you write identity matrix of the order, and inside this bracket you write the order of the identity matrix you want. So suppose I want a 5 cross 5 identity matrix, then I will write identity matrix of 5. Okay, and let me display this also in matrix form. So you can see that this is the how you can generate an identity matrix, okay, in Mathematica. Now if you want to also display a diagonal matrix, then it can be written as like this, a diagonal matrix, and inside this square bracket you can write, okay, the list. So 1 2 3 4 5. What are these elements? These are the diagonal elements. Okay, and I am also displaying this. matrix form. So you can see that the diagonal elements I have put and rest of the elements are 0. So this is how you can generate a diagonal matrix or an identity matrix in Mathematica. Now let us go back to lists and talk about some operation on lists. So basically, if you want to perform some operations on list, these are very important. Uh, so I will talk about them. So suppose that there is a list, okay, 5 7 5 2 1 4. Okay, the list can be as long as possible, and you want to find what is the position of 5. Okay, so you can see that the position of 5 is at 1 and at 3. So if you want to find, then you have to use position, okay, and then comma, okay, then you have to write inside the square bracket the entire list, then a comma and a 5. So you can see that it has found the position of 5 which is at 1 and at 3. Okay, now if you want to find how many number of 5s are there, okay, so it works as like this. Okay, count the number of 5s. So you can see that it is 2. Okay, because there are 2 5s in this list. If you want to find what is the length of the list, okay, then so 6 is the length of the entire list. Okay, so this is how you can perform some things on the structure of a list. Now there are two very important commands. One that is take and drop. Okay, so it is known as take. Okay, and I will write a long list: 1 9 7 17 33 57. Okay, then 107 and 192. Okay, so this is a list, and in this list I am only interested in the first two elements of this list. So suppose that a very long list is created after some evaluation, and you are interested in the first few terms. So what we will do, I will write take function, okay, and comma 2 at the end. So you can see that the first two elements are taken. Okay, now instead of first two, I am interested in the last two elements, then I will write, instead of 2 I will write -2. So basically minus will start from reverse. Okay, so I will write -2, and now you see, okay, so 107 and 192 are taken. Okay, so this is how it works. Suppose that I am not interested in first or last, I want to take something from between. So I will write in curly bracket 2 comma 4. Okay, so you can see that the from 2 to 4 only this much elements are taken from between. Okay, so this is how you can use the take command. Okay, if you want to use minus here, so you can also use from -5 to -3. Okay, so you can see that the 17 33 and 57, okay, these elements are taken but from reverse. So this is how this take function works. One more way of taking this is 1, if I write here 1 to 6. Okay, so it will start from the first position, go to sixth position in steps of 2. So I will write comma 2, and you can see now that first element is taken, okay, then in step of 2, so 7th is taken, 7 is taken, and then 33 is taken, okay, and I have to take only up till 6th element. So this is how you can use the take function. Okay, similar to take, there is another function which is drop. Okay, in drop what will happen, that you can drop the variables from a list. Okay, so if I write drop and if I write 2, okay, so you can see that the first 2 elements, okay, have been dropped from the list and the other elements are printed. Okay, if I write here -1, so what will happen, the last element will be dropped and the rest will be printed. So you can see that 192 is missing in the list. So this is how you can use the drop command. Okay, suppose that I want to remove some elements from the between, so what I will do, I will write in curly bracket 3, 5. So the third element to 5th element will be dropped from this list. Okay, so you can see that 7, 17 and 33 are missing from this list. So this is how you can use the drop command. There is another thing which is known as sort. If you want to sort a list from ascending to descending or descending to ascending, okay, so this from, okay, in ascending order or descending order, how will you use this? So there is a command called sort. Okay, this sort command will sort your list. So suppose that I am having a list like this, 3, 223, okay, by 71, 22 by 7, 355 by 113, 25 by 8. So this is my list and I will sort this list. Okay, if I am not specifying anything, then it will be sorted in a ascending order. Okay, so this is if I want to find the numerical values, then I will use the percentage, okay, slash percentage double slash cap. Okay, so you can see that the list is in ascending order. Okay, so this is how the sort command is used. But instead of ascending, if you want to sort this list in descending order, then what you will do, you will use here a comma and then I will write greater. Okay, so now if I execute this, so you can see that it is from descending order. Okay, so this is how you can use the sort command in Mathematica. Now there is very important function, inbuilt function, which is very important, and that is known as append. Okay, append. So if you want to add an element to a list, then we use an append command. Okay, append, what append will do, it will add an element to the end of a list. Suppose if I am having a list 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and I want to add an element 5. Okay, so append, what it will do, it will add the element to the end of the list. Okay, so I have to write 1, 2, 3, 4 is your list. Okay, and in this list you want to add this element 5. Okay, so append will add this element to the end of this list. So you can see that 5 has been added to the last element. Suppose that okay, I want to add an element at the start, then I will have to use prepend. Okay, prepend. Okay, prepend is a command. What it will do is this function will add an element to the start of the list. So suppose I am having 1, 2, 3, 4 and I want to add 0 at the starting of this list, then if I execute this, so you can see that prepend has added 0 to the starting of the list. Okay, so this is how you can use append and prepend. But if you want to add something in the middle of the list, then the command is insert. Okay, so insert, if I'm having a list 1 2 3 4 and I have to add 2.5, okay, at the third position, okay, so I have to use, so this is my number which I have to add, and this is the position where I have to add the number. So you can see that 2.5 has been added to the third position in this list. So this is the application of append, prepend and insert. Okay, now we will talk about a command called flatten. Okay, this is also very important. Flatten, what flatten does, it basically, okay, converts nested list into a single list. Okay, so suppose that I am having a nested list. Okay, so this is my nested list. You can see that there are three nests in this. Okay, so first is a 1 2, okay, both 1 2 and this 2 and 3 are in one nest. Then this basically 5 and 3 and 7 4 are in separate, then they are in a separate nest. So basically if I use this, okay, flatten command, then what will be happen, all this have been added to a single array. Okay, so basically you can see that flatten can be used to convert, okay, a nested list into a single list. Okay, this is also very important. The advantage, you will know what to do, how this works. Now if you don't want to remove all the nest, you want to remove the outermost nest, then you can write comma 1, so only the outermost nest will be removed. Okay, so you can see that this nest has been removed. Okay, if you remove, if you write here 2, then the two nests are removed. So you can, this is how you can limit the number of nests to be removed. Okay, another which is very important command is join. Okay, join is used to add two lists. So suppose that if you are having a list 1 2 3 4 and another list is basically A, B, C and D. So basically what this join command will do, it will join both of these lists. So you can see using join you can club both of this list and make it into one. So these are the advantages. This all inbuilt function, all inbuilt functions to do operations on list are very important. Okay,